So today we will be dealing with the preparations of phenol. Today we'll be dealing with preparations of phenols. Today we'll be dealing with preparations of phenols. So first is preparation of phenol from your sodium benzene sulfonic acid. So what is the first method? You can see it in the book. First is you treat sodium benzene sulfonic acid. Okay, sodium benzene sulfonic acid. You treat it with benzene sulfonic with sodium hydroxide, 30% sodium hydroxide, and heat it at high temperature, 300 degrees Celsius. You get your sodium phenoxide ion, which when you treat it with HCl neutralization, you will get your phenol. So what is the first method? You treat benzene sulfonic acid. You treat it with NaOH. You heat it at high temperature, 300 degrees Celsius, strong alkali. Okay. So you get your sodium phenoxide, and that when you treat it with your benzoic when you treat it with your HCl, you will get your phenol. Okay, it gets neutralized to give your phenol. What is the second method? It is your base hydrolysis of your chlorobenzene, that is Dow's method. Second method is what? Dow's method. What is Dow's method? You take chlorobenzene. You treat it with what? Similar over here also. You treat it with what? 10% NaOH. It is an replacement reaction, substitution, where your chlorine is replaced by OH when you heat it at high temperature in presence of sodium hydroxide, 10%. You get your sodium phenoxide. That when you neutralize with HCl, you get your phenol. So that is Dow's method. Dow's method is nothing but when chlorobenzene is treated with sodium hydroxide alkali and heated at high temperature. Okay, heated at high temperature around 360, you get your sodium phenoxide, which on further treatment with your HCl, you'll get your phenol. That is your second method. Now third method, very important. This can be asked for 2 marks also. How can you prepare your phenol from cumin? How can you prepare phenol from cumin? So what is this method? So you take cumin. So what is cumin? Cumin is nothing but a phenyl ring. Cumin is nothing but a phenyl ring which contains an isopropyl group attached to it. Just see on the board. An isopropyl group attached to it. Okay. So this is phenyl ring that is attached to isopropyl group. That is known as cumin. So that when you treat it with ozone, that when you treat with atmospheric oxygen, okay, that when you treat it with atmospheric oxygen, okay, in presence of an metal catalyst, okay, in presence of an metal catalyst, any metal catalyst at 60 to 80 degrees Celsius, okay, in presence of an metal catalyst, it undergoes oxidation. It undergoes oxidation. So what does happen? You get an hydrogen peroxide. You get an peroxide of the following compound, cumin peroxide. This cumin peroxide, when you treat it with whatever cumin peroxide, when you treat it with H2SO4, when it is treated with H2SO4, you get your phenol and your acetone. Okay, you get your phenol and acetone. So how can you prepare your phenol from cumin? What is cumin? This is phenyl ring attached to your isopropyl group. Okay, that when you oxidize it in atmospheric oxygen at around 60 to 80 degrees Celsius, it gets converted into an peroxide. It gets converted to an cumin peroxide. Okay, you get a cumin. This cumin peroxide, when you treat it, undergoes acid hydrolysis to give you your phenol and acetone. To give your phenol and acetone. Okay, this is a very important method for preparation. This is commercial method for preparation of your phenol. Okay, this is how phenol is prepared commercially. Okay, next is preparation of phenol from anilines. How can you prepare from anilines, from diazonium salts? So you know diazonium salts, how their diazonium salts are formed. So next method of preparation is from your aniline through diazonium salt formation. So aniline, when you treat it with nitrous acid, NaNO2, sodium nitrite along with HCl, you get HNO2. Okay, and you get your diazonium salt. Okay, NH plus. Okay, N2 plus. This diazonium salt, when you heat it with water, this diazonium salt, when you heat it with water and acid, that is acidic hydrolysis at 100 degrees Celsius at high temperature. Okay, this nitrogen is replaced by your phenol. Okay, so this is how you can prepare phenol from your aniline. So aniline you convert into a diazonium salt at 0 degrees Celsius. So you get your diazonium salt at 0 degrees Celsius. Using NaNO2 and HCl, you will get HNO2, that is nitrous acid. This diazonium salt which is formed when it is heated in acidic medium, okay, in water at high temperature at around 100 degrees temperature, that gets converted into your phenol. That is the third method for preparation of your phenol. First is your chlorobenzene, then your benzene sulfonic acid, you treat it with NaOH, it gets converted into phenol, sodium phenoxide, which on hydrolysis, neutralization gets converted into your phenol. Next is your Dawes method, chlorobenzene, similarly with NaOH, it gets. Third method is cumin. Cumin, when you treat it with oxygen at 60 to 80 degrees Celsius, when you heat it with it, you get your peroxide. This peroxide undergoes acid hydrolysis in presence of H2SO4 to give your phenol. Next is from your diazonium salts. So phenol can be treated from aryl diazonium salt. So aniline gets converted into your diazonium salt using NaNO2 and HCl. You get HNO2 at 0 degrees. Diazonium salt which is formed, which is converted into phenol by treating it with H2SO4, water and heating it 100 degrees. So you get your corresponding phenol. Next method is decarboxylation of your salicylic acid. Decarboxylation of your salicylic. What is salicylic acid? Orthophenol carboxylic acid at the ortho position of your phenol. So this, when you treat it with NaOH and calcium oxide, that is soda lime, and you treat it at around 100 degrees Celsius, okay, you get your corresponding sodium phenoxide, and which on further treat an Na2CO3, and which on further treatment with HCl, you will get your phenol. So how can you prepare phenol from this thing? You take it salicylic acid, you heat it with your soda lime and your soda lime, that is NaOH and KOH, calcium oxide. Heat it at around 100 degrees Celsius, and you get your corresponding sodium phenoxide. You get your corresponding sodium phenoxide. Okay, you get your corresponding sodium. So soda lime is nothing but your NaOH and calcium oxide. That is known as soda lime. So when you treat salicylic acid with soda lime is nothing but NaOH and calcium oxide. You heat it, you get your corresponding sodium phenoxide, which on treatment neutralization with HCl will give your corresponding phenol. Okay, this is how you can prepare your phenol. Okay, so let us revise once more the preparation of phenol. First method is you treat it benzene sulfonic acid with your sodium hydroxide, 10% sodium at 300 degrees Celsius. You get your sodium phenoxide, which on neutralization with HCl will give you your corresponding phenol. Second is Dow's method, where you treat the halobenzene, that is chlorobenzene, you treat it with sodium hydroxide 10% at 360 degrees Celsius. You get your sodium phenoxide, which on treatment with neutralization with HCl will give you a corresponding acid. Okay, corresponding phenol. Okay. Then next is your from your cumin. Cumin is nothing but benzene, which is attached to your isopropyl group, which on treatment with oxygen, atmospheric oxygen at 60 to 80 degrees Celsius, it gets converted into its cumin peroxide. Okay, this cumin peroxide, when it undergoes acid hydrolysis, it gets converted into your corresponding phenol. The next method is from your diazonium salts, aryl diazonium salts, which is formed when aniline is treated with nitrous acid. You get diazonium salt. This diazonium salt that is found when you heat it with water H2SO4 at 100 degrees Celsius, you get your corresponding phenol. And the last method of preparation is from your salicylic acid, which on treated with soda lime, that is sodium hydroxide and calcium oxide. When you heat it at around 100 degrees Celsius, you get your sodium phenoxide, which on neutralization will give you a corresponding phenol. Okay, so these are the preparation, very important. So please mark it as an important triple asterisk for this particular portion. Preparations of phenol. Okay. So that completes your phenols. Preparation of phenols. Now let's go for the reactions. So as you know, hydroxyl group is an strongly activating group. So it will favor electrophilic aromatic substitution reaction. So you know that phenol is an strongly activator. Why? Because it has lone pair of electron that can stabilize your intermediate carbocation of your aromatic ring, okay, through this pi bond formation. So it is a strongly activated. So where will be the electrophilic substitution? Let us consider. So if phenol is treated with an electrophile, so it will undergo electrophilic substitution reaction at ortho as well as para position. So it will undergo electrophilic aromatic substitution at ortho and para. So you can give all the example: halogenation, nitration, telegraph acylation, sulfonation. Everything will undergo nitration, all. So phenol will undergo all the type of electrophilic substitution at ortho and para position, because they are strong activators. That's why it will undergo electrophilic substitution at which position? Ortho and para. Why? Because it is a strong activator. Okay. Now let's go one by one. Okay. Nitration. Okay. So if phenol, because being it a strong oxidizing, strong activator, so you'll get a polynitrated compound. You get a polynitrated compound. So when phenol is treated with concentrated HNO3 and H2SO4, so you get an polysubstituted polynitrated phenol. But the same reaction when you do it in a milder condition, because it is an activate, when you do it with dilute HNO3, you just get an O nitro and a para compound. Okay, you get an para nitro and ortho nitro compound, and para will be major. Okay, para will be the major compound that will be formed. So in case of concentrated nitric acid, you get an polynitrated compound, whereas in case of dilute HNO3, you will get an you'll get a mono substituted nitro phenol. Okay, you'll get a mono nitrate. Okay, so that was our nitration. Now let's go for the second, because of the now bromination. Okay, what happens? See the conditions now. Phenol. See the conditions properly. Okay, phenols. In presence of bromine and aqueous bromine, okay, in water, aqueous medium, and bromine in presence of inorganic medium, that is carbon chloroform or carbon tetrachloride. So in aqueous medium, what you get is an polysubstituted benzene. Okay, see this. So if the reaction is in aqueous medium, you get a polysubstitute. The same reaction if you bromination, if you do in inorganic solvent, organic solvent, okay, like chloroform and all. So you get an either ortho bromobenzene phenol or a para bromophenol, and the para bromo will be your major product because of the bulkiness and steric effect. You'll get the major product will be your para bromophenol, and and when you do it in aqueous medium, remember this thing. In aqueous bromine, you get a 2,4,6-tribromo phenol, and if you do in an organic solvent like chloroform and carbon tetrachloride, you get an ortho and para substituted phenol, bromo substituted phenol, with major product as your para bromo phenol. Okay, it is a para bromo phenol. Okay, so halogenation as a now sulfonation where major product will be your para only. So how do you prepare benzene sulfonic acid? You treat it with a strong fuming nitric acid. So when you treat phenol with fuming sulfuric acid, so you get your ortho sulfonic acid phenol and your para sulfonic acid, and para will be your major product. Similar reason, because of the steric effect, steric hindrance. Okay, so this will be your minor and this will be your major products. So you don't have to say similar. So you have to always say that your para substituted product, if there is bulkiness, steric hindrance, it will be your major product. Okay, now this question is asked in your exam for 2 marks. Okay, what is Kolbe's reaction? What is Kolbe's reaction? Okay, what is Kolbe's reaction? So simple thing, phenol when treated with an base like aqueous, sodium hydroxide or potassium along with carbon dioxide at 125 degrees Celsius and at pressure, high pressure, that is 4 to 7 atmosphere. So when you treat phenol with an carbon dioxide in presence of sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide, it will give your corresponding salicylic sodium salicylate, which on treatment with acid will get converted into your corresponding salicylic. So what is Kolbe's synthesis? Kolbe's reaction is nothing but treatment of phenol. Treatment of what? Phenol with sodium hydroxide or an alkali in presence of carbon dioxide gas at 125 degrees Celsius and at a pressure of around, high pressure around 4 to 7 atmosphere. 1 atmosphere is 780 torr, 768 torr. So what is 4 to, it will be at high pressure when you treat it. This particular phenol gets carbonated at the ortho position and you get your sodium salicylate, which on neutralization with an acid gets converted into your corresponding salicylic acid. This is how you convert your phenol into your salicylic acid. So carbon dioxide acts as a weak electrophile. Okay, so that's why it undergoes substitution reaction at the para position, because carbon dioxide acts as a weak electro. Okay, so it requires a drastic condition to get added across the ring. Okay, so that was your, so very important reaction, comes for 2 marks in your exam, comes for 2 marks in your exam. That is Kolbe's reaction. That is Kolbe's reaction. Next is Friedel-Crafts alkylation. So at which position? If it is an bulky one, so basically it will undergo at the para position because of the bulkiness. Okay, so you get a para sub, any alkyl halide you take, it will undergo at, major product will be your para substituted phenol. Next is your Friedel-Crafts acylation. Friedel-Crafts acylation is nothing but introduction of your carbonyl group, acyl group to your phenol ring. So phenol when treated with your acyl chlorides, anything, what is over here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Butyryl chloride. Okay, when you treat it with butyryl chloride or acetyl, anything, you will get a para substituted product. You get a para substituted acyl ring. Okay, the acyl ring gets substituted into your phenol at the para positions. Okay, that is your Friedel-Crafts acylation. That is your Friedel-Crafts acylation. Now Williamson things. All these things I am telling you will come in your exam for 2 marks. Okay, so phenols in Williamson's ether synthesis. So what happens when a phenol is treated with an sodium hydroxide? Okay, so what happens? So what is Williamson's synthesis? When an phenol is treated with an base, then and in presence of an alkyl halide or any group with an aromatic substitute with very good leaving groups. Okay, alkyl halide or alkyl sulfonate, anything which is a good leaving group. So what happens when an phenol is treated with sodium hydroxide or a sodium metal, which forms a sodium phenoxide. This sodium phenoxide will when treated with an alkyl halide RX or an alkyl sulfonate, which is a good leaving group. Okay, they will form an ether, ROR. Okay, it will form an ether and you get your corresponding. So what is Williamson synthesis? It is nothing but when an phenol is treated with sodium hydroxide or an alkali, it forms a corresponding phenoxide, which will treat when treated with an alkyl halide or alkyl sulfonate, which are very good leaving groups. So then it undergoes an ascent to substitution mechanism, that is backside effect. It will attack from back and you get your corresponding ether. So conversion of your phenol to ethers, to phenolic ethers. is known as your Williamson's synthesis of phenol. Okay, Williamson's ether synthesis. What happens in the first step? Generation of your phenoxide ion, sodium. This phenoxide ion will attack on your alkyl halide, that is ethyl halide, and this will attack backside effect, and you get your corresponding phenol. Next way, this is also used for preparation of anisole and other substituted phenol. Okay, this is how you can prepare various compound. Okay, so phenol when treated with sodium hydroxide, you will get your corresponding phenoxide ion. This phenoxide ion when treated with, and let us consider as ethyl iodide, CH3 CH2I. So it undergoes SN1 SN2 substitution effect, and you get your corresponding OC2H1. Okay, methyl iodide, ethyl, anything you take, you get your corresponding phenolic ether. Okay, so you get your ether, that is Williamson's synthesis. That is your Williamson's synthesis. Okay, that is your Williamson's synthesis. Now let's go for the next type of reaction. Let's go for the next type of reaction, that is Clason's rearrangement. All these things are very important for you in your examination point of view. Either they will ask write the reactions, or they will give you the name reaction, write the reaction conditions. Okay, so what is this Clason's ether synthesis? What is this Clason's ether synthesis? You take a phenol, you take a phenol, okay, you take a phenol, okay, you take a phenol, you take a phenol, okay, treated with sodium hydroxide or any base, sodium hydride, it is also a base in THF, you get your phenoxide ion, sodium phenoxide, that you treat it with an allyl bromide. What is allyl? 1, 2, 3 carbon with a double bond. So 1, 2, 3 carbon with a double bond at the terminal, that is known as allyl bromide. Okay, that is an 3 carbon. So this is an allyl bromide. Okay, then when you treat it, you get your allyl aryl ether. You get an allyl aryl ether. You get an alkyl aryl ether or aryl, that is aryl ether, phenyl ether. So you get an allyl. This is allyl group. Phenyl. This is your phenylic group and ether. That's why it is called allyl phenyl ether. Okay. This allyl phenyl ether, when it's heated at high temperature, this allyl ether, when it is heated at high temperature, so this allyl phenyl ether, when it is heated at high temperature at around 200 to 250 degrees Celsius, it undergoes Clason's rearrangement. It undergoes Clason's rearrangement to give ortho allyl phenol, to give ortho allyl phenol. So what is the condition? Your phenol when treated with your allyl bromide, you get your allyl phenyl ether. This allyl phenyl ether, when you heat it at around 200 to 250 degrees Celsius, this leads to a rearrangement that is known as Clason's rearrangement. That is known as Clason's rearrangement. That is known as Clason's rearrangement, and it undergoes an substitution reaction. It undergoes an rearrangement where the ether, allylic ether, shifts to your ortho position of your phenol ring, and you get an ortho allyl phenol. That is known as Clason's rearrangement reaction. It is a concerted type of reaction. It is a concerted type of reaction. Okay, so that is Clason's rearrangement. Okay, how does this occur? So what happens? The terminal carbon which is there becomes here. So if you see the reaction, the carbon which is attached at the first position. Okay, so if you see in this reaction, in the green color, which is your this carbon which is attached over here. Okay, let me show it by green color, similar to that. So this particular CH2. Okay, when the rearrangement occurs, this initially, so this bond comes over here. Let us show CH2. Okay, this bond comes over here and this goes out to give you your O minus. You get your O minus and you get your CH2 CH2 plus. Okay, so this intermediate which is formed, this will undergo an electrophilic substitution reaction, O minus. See now what happens, this will have positive charge, so this will have a positive charge, so this attacks over here, this attacks over here. Okay, this will attack over here and you get an intermediate, that is 6-allyl 2,4-cyclohexane dieno. Okay, so this comes over here, there is an electronic shift and the first position, the carbon which is attached to the first position goes to the last position. So there is an interconversion. The positional interconversion takes place in your Clason. So the carbon which is attached to the first, when it goes to the ortho position, it goes to the terminal carbon. So this is what rearrangement that occurs in your Clason's rearrangement reaction. Okay. Now next is Reamer-Tiemer reaction. Next is Reamer-Tiemer's reaction. What is the next reaction? Reamer-Tiemer reaction. So what happens in Reamer-Tiemer reaction? In Reamer-Tiemer's reaction. So when you take a phenol, you treat it with chloroform, base and heat it. You get your corresponding salicyl aldehyde. You get your corresponding salicyl aldehyde. So what is Reamer-Tiemer reaction? When you treat a phenol, see the condition. When you treat a phenol with chloroform in presence of a base NaOH and heat it, you get your corresponding salicylic acid, that is aldehyde group gets added to the phenol at the ortho position. Gets added to the ortho position. So what is this mechanism? First step is formation of your carbene. So first step is your formation of your carbene. So if you see chloroform, when it is treated with base, so chloroform is as proton is highly acidic because of 3-chloro. So you get an Cl3 minus carbanion H2O. Okay, this CaCl3, it will lose one Cl minus to form Cl2, to form Cl2, that is carbene with 2 pairs of electrons. Okay, with 2 pairs of electrons. Okay, and Cl minus is lost. This is the first step, generation of carbene. This is just the mechanism of action of your Reamer-Tiemer. This is formation of your carbene. Now what is the next step? Now phenol is there. Now phenol is there. So when phenol is treated with a base, strong base, so what it will form? It will form the phenoxide ion. Okay, so this phenoxide ion will undergo resonance and it will form minus and plus. Okay, this particular carbanic intermediate is formed. Okay, this carbanion which is formed, phenol carbanion which is formed, then this phenol carbanion which is formed minus and H. So this minus charge will attack on your carbene. So this will form a bond with, by sharing 1 electrons, it will form a bond and you get a corresponding. So this comes over here. This goes off. H goes off. Okay. H goes off. Okay. What is the next step? This H comes to the ring and this goes off. So what does it form? Here O minus. So when H goes off, O minus. Sorry, this thing is not working. O minus and CCl3. You get your CCl3 with an H. Okay, H gets added over here. You get the corresponding thing. And what is the next step? When you treat it with acid, when you heat it, this condition with water, this gets converted into your phenol and your aldehyde. You get your phenol and your aldehyde. So this is how your Riemer-Tiemer mechanism occurs. So what is the first step? Generation of your carbene. That is, chloroform reacts with your base to give you a carbene. With the carbene is nothing but carbon with 2 electrons. This carbene will react with your phenoxide ion, which gets transferred to phenol intermediate. This attacks on your carbene to form the bond. Then there is a loss of hydrogen which protonates your carbene. Okay. Next step is when you heat it with water, you get your corresponding phenol and your aldehyde group gets your CCl3, which is highly unstable group, gets converted into your corresponding aldehyde. So this is the mechanism of action of your Riemer-Tiemer reaction. So next is your Friese rearrangement. Next thing is your Friese rearrangement reaction. Next thing is your Friese rearrangement reaction. What is this? When an phenolic ester, okay, when an phenolic ester, okay, is treated. So there is one mistake over here. Okay, the structure is not right. So when an phenolic ester, how is an ester formed? When phenol is treated with acetic anhydride and sodium hydride, you get an acetate, phenolic benzene acetate. Okay, you get this particular. When this phenolic acetate reacts with, is treated with AlCl3, heated with an acid, Lewis acid, it undergoes rearrangement to give you an ortho or para substituted ketonic group. Okay, corresponding ketone. So there should not be an O over here. If you see in the board, there is a mistake over here. There should not be an O. There should be direct C double bond O attached to the ring. You just look at the board properly. It is C double bond O CH3. It is C double bond O CH3. Okay. So it forms a ketone. You get a ketone. That is wrong over here. That's an ester. So when a phenolic ether gets converted into an phenolic ketone, when a phenolic ether ester gets converted into a phenolic ketone in presence of aluminum chloride as a catalyst, it is known as Friese rearrangement. So when a phenolic ester is converted into a phenolic substituted ketone, okay, that is known as an Friese rearrangement. Very important from your examination point of view. All these name reactions are important in name reaction. Okay, all these phenolic rearrangements are important in name. The next is your coupling rearrangement, coupling reaction. Next is your coupling reaction. So what is this coupling reaction? So diazonium salts, okay, these are the diazonium salts. So they act as an electrophile. This can react with phenol to form a para-hydroxyazobenzene. So if it couples at 0 degrees Celsius, low temperature, okay, in presence of a base. So it will form N double bond para hydroxyazobenzene. Okay, para hydroxyazobenzene. Okay, this is the product that is formed. This is a coupling. This is known as azo coupling reaction. Okay, in presence of base. Next is your when phenol is treated with zinc, heated with zinc, it gets reduced to your benzene ring. So when your phenol gets treated with your ring, zinc, it gets reduced to your benzene. So this is also one of the method for preparation of your benzene. When phenol is treated with zinc, it undergoes reduction to give you it removes your hydroxyl group and you get your benzene. This is the way of preparation of your benzene from phenol. So other is, as I said, phenols can react with your acyl chlorides in presence of base to give your corresponding phenolic ester. So when a phenol is treated with an acyl chloride or anhydrides in presence of a base, it gives your corresponding phenolic ester. It gives your corresponding phenolic ester. So this is how phenols can react. Phenols can undergo oxidation reacts to give you benzoquinone. So what happens when you treat your phenol? This is very important. Okay, this is very important. These are used as a coloring reagents and all. Okay, so when an phenol is treated with sodium chromate, okay, or Fermi's salt, that is sodium chromate along Fermi's salt or sodium, any oxidizing agent, it gets converted into, and see the position at 1 and 4 there will be a carbonyl group. It forms a benzoquinone. It forms a benzoquinone. And these quinones can be easily reduced to hydroxyquinones by treating with, so this can be converted to OH by treating with sodium borohydride. Okay, so this is an oxidation reaction, very important. This is a coloring reagent used as an antioxidant and all. Okay, so it forms cyclohexadiene 1,4-thiol, and which on further treatment with sodium borate gets converted into your hydroquinones. Okay, these are the reactions of phenol. So in this particular chart, you will come to know what, if you see this particular chart, you will come to know what all the reactions phenols undergo. It's in one chart preparation when we go for the exam. So these are all the reactions that phenols undergo. These are all the reactions that phenols undergo. One is your nitration, carboxylation, Kolbe's reaction, then your freeze rearrangement, conversion to your corresponding phenolic ketones, nitration of your phenol to give picric acid, which is a strong acid, sulfonation, Friedel-Crafts alkylation, then your Riemann-Timmers reaction, and treatment with ferric chloride to form ferric chloride. That is a test for your phenols. When you treat it with sodium dichromate, it gets converted into benzoquinone. Okay, when they treat with formaldehyde, you get your bakelite. Okay, phenol that is used for formation of your bakelite. Okay, azo compounds. So these are all the reactions of phenols. So in this one chart, if you see, you will come to know all the different reactions of benzene which has to be written. So whenever the question comes, write the reactions of benzene. All these things